don't know why you're clapping. I'm talking about you.
This is my convention. What is happening to it?
Defending against the modern-day downgrade as we head downhill at breakneck speed, speaking truth, exposing the lies. This is Polemics Reports.
You know why you do it. You don't do it because you get paid well. You don't do it because men love you. You do it because you love men, and because more than that, you want to honor God.
From a location somewhere in the eastern Montana prairie, this is your host, J.D. Hall.
Hello, you are listening to Polemics Report live on Thursday night, April 14th, 2022. This is not JD Hall. You could probably have figured that out by now. This is his intrepid layman co-host, David Morrill. JD, y'all gonna find this kind of interesting, I think. JD is trekking through the snow as we speak. I called him about 5 minutes ago. I said, hey, you know, we're going live in just a few. And he said, the snow plows have plowed his driveway shut, or like the end of his driveway, so he can't get to the street. And so he is, I'm not sure if he is like gonna walk to the studio at the church or not. But in any case, I said, hey man, we're going live and I will see you when I see you. So he'll be joining us at some point. But for now, you are stuck with me for a little while. Thank you for tuning in. I'm still getting used to kind of doing this live stream thing. I'm pretty excited about it though. I like being able to listen and kind of get some live interaction with what we're saying. I guess we have to watch what, you know, the language or something. No, I'm just joking. It's not really that bad, but it does make me wonder sometimes if the dynamic changes knowing that you're recording something and putting it out later versus live where people can listen. Yeah, like you know, Running says there, you can't listen at 1.5 speed. That's not going to work. You can't get ahead of the stream. So you gotta hang out with us and watch us. I guess if you're used to listening at 1.5 speed, this must seem really slow. Like what I'm saying must be coming out very, very slowly. Sometimes that's a good thing. And I was talking with JD last week, and we're determined to, and this is going to be a little bit of a process, I think, but determined to move Polemics Report to not only just headlines and kind of more scandalous things and topics of the day within evangelicalism in the church, but also some of the doctrinal background behind why we say the things that we say. Not only with why we do polemics the way that we do, but also when we get into topics, sometimes we'll say things like, we just take things for granted. Oh, so and so's a false teacher. So and so's done this wrong. So and so, you know, this and that and the other. But sometimes we forget that not everybody has listened to years of Polemics Report, and so it may be worth a refresher from time to time on the actual doctrinal implications of what we're saying. And for those of you, maybe your first time tuning in or whatever, you can always go over to protestia.com for the latest headlines and what is going on over there. There haven't been a ton of headlines lately. Not a ton lately, but we're getting, you know, we will, sorry, Jordan's logging in like right now. So I'm trying to watch, you know, my monitoring screen there and see what's going on. He's got a weird green screen thing going on that I'm not sure that I want to flip towards. Probably needs to turn his lights on. But before we get over to him again, you can go to protestia.com for the latest headlines. Now, if you like supporting this, to support this ministry monetarily, I know we have what we like to call our lovable freeloaders who are watching in right now. Don't know how many are freeloaders and how many are not, but if you'd like to support the ministry, you can do so for as little as $5.95 a month by heading over to Patreon. You can see it on the screen now, patreon.com/pulpit and pen, which will get you there. You can also, there's also a subscribe link at protestia.com to get you there as well. Jordan is getting in right now, and I'm watching on the screen, and he's like half green screened out, like his beard has disappeared. I can see right through him. There's something funny going on, but that's okay. A lot of people have been chiming in on his latest article at Protestia talking about quitting polemics, and there have been some very kind video responses and some kind Twitter responses and things. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, hopefully clarify exactly what that means, lest you all be stuck with me from now to the end of time listening to Polemics Report. And I'm watching the chat. Appreciate you all being on so far. This is not going to be, for those of you that may be familiar with a Seiko Woods 4-hour stupid live stream that he does every single day. This is not going to be like that. And I will never tell you to cam up or shut up because that's stupid. But I will say when things are stupid. That's definitely going to be in on it as well. So I'm still not gonna flip Jordan in here until he fixes whatever's going on because it looks hilarious. He's like he's got like a green screen that's half disappeared, like he's picked the wrong color for his I might flip it on here just because it's really funny. But I'll give him I'll turn his audio on. How about that? I'll turn his audio on so you can all hear what he's saying at least. Before we get to the headlines and the other topics, the most important topic that we will ever get to on one of these shows, that is, of course, the gospel of Jesus Christ. What is the gospel? You might be asking. Well, the gospel of Jesus Christ is the good news that while you and I and everybody born on this planet except Jesus himself were born into sin, and therefore we're headed straight to hell without an intervention. That intervention, of course, is the person and work of Jesus Christ on the cross, paying that price for you and I and those who place our faith and trust in him. That is the good news of the gospel, and it is wonderful news because without it, we are hopeless. And this week is kind of, I'm a Baptist, so I wouldn't say that I consider this, to be some sort of a special Holy Week, because I think every Sunday is the Lord's Day. Every Sunday is a chance to celebrate the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ and what he has done for us. But you can hear him now. So Jordan is now on, although I don't know where his microphone went. It might be far away from his mouth. But I'm gonna bring him. There he is. See, I'm gonna bring him in here. See if we got this working. Jordan, how are you?
It's right here. It is well.
Good.
I'm well.
Good. So, how is the snow in rural Montana?
Man. That was the thing. First of all, I forgot that doing this live means I have to actually be here when I'm supposed to be. I thought to myself, oh, I'll just it's okay if I'm a few minutes late. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I can't do that.
We just started without you. Myself and the rest of us on this live stream, we just started without you.
I've only seen blizzards bad enough. They shut the highway once before. They shut it again last night. And it's the first time I've seen them shut the city streets down. And I called the mayor today and I said, so I went by the church. This was like at 2:00, and I'm like, I was going to go to work. 1:00 maybe. It's like I was going to go to work, and we had our parking lot plowed, but then the city came by and they plowed in our parking lot. They go down the street and they shove the snow to the side and they cover our parking lot. So now I have to jump my pickup truck through like 5 feet of snow at least, and it's not gonna make it to be able to get to where I need to go. But I did, because I Dukes of Hazzard it tonight, because thankfully it was soft. I thought I would just go right through it. It wasn't. It was hard as a brick. So I just climbed it like a hill. How I'm getting out of here, I don't know. But it was, sorry for being late, but it was, I'm going to blame the blizzard of the century.
So now is it confidential or some sort of secret knowledge because don't you have like a camper or something that you consider like the mobile command center or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that always ready to go to where you can stay somewhere else if you have to bug out?
Yeah. It's ready to go. However, I will say if it's not that cold, thankfully the cold didn't come with the snow, but if it's super cold, you can always skirt a camper, but it's not. Yeah. I'm ready to go hunting tomorrow. What are you saying? Do you know a place? Do I need to have it ready to go? No,
I'm still trying to.
You're trying to figure out how I'm gonna get rid of this, get away from the snow, or what are you asking for?
No, I'm desperately trying to catch up with the bug out gear. Like I got a trailer last week, so I'm starting to collect little pieces here and get ready for the apocalypse. Just in case. Just
Where
in
are
case.
you gonna go? Is my question.
Yeah,
Because if you show up in my door with nothing but your sound equipment,
Yeah.
you're not getting my beans, balls, and band-aids.
Yeah, it's not going to help. There's nothing that a whole bunch of live sound gear and lights and all that stuff.
Don't knock on my bunker without 5,000 rounds of ammo.
You're not supposed to admit that. It's supposed to be secret knowledge. You have 20 rounds of ammo as far as anybody's concerned.
No, I didn't say how much I had. I said I'm telling you, don't knock on my door unless you've got that much. That's like an entry, requirement.
Yeah, that's like it's like a small down payment.
Hey, I have nothing. Let me into your bunker. No.
Yes. So Running says, I'm shocked JD didn't C4 his way out. Yeah.
C4 my way. Oh, well,
Yeah,
I would like to, but I
just
don't
blow
own
it
any
up,
explosives. That would take an entirely different license from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms that I don't currently possess. Maybe one day.
Wait a minute. I got to jump in. So Doctrinal Watchdog says Seiko Woods told him to cam up or else, quote, this dog might get neutered. That guy's so dumb.
Seiko.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
The guy's named after a Walmart wash.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's spelled differently, I guess. But
it's like it's like ghetto. Instead of like naming your kid Mercedes, like naming her like Kia or something.
Yeah,
like it's
I've seen
so.
It. You can play,
So Jackie Hill Perry.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Well, it's like if you're playing for the NFL or the NBA, it's free reign on names. You name yourself whatever you want. You're in fact, the crazier your name is, it seems like the more likely you are to play pro football or pro basketball.
Yeah. Well, Seiko is a bit of a nut job, and I don't know how he gets by. I guess he does have people send him money and stuff. I don't know, or he doesn't get by, or he lives on welfare. I don't know.
He's on YouTube 4 or 5 hours a day. It seems.
Is that it? Just seems, or is it that much?
At least lately it seemed that way. I don't know.
We're 10 minutes in. I ran out of things to talk about because you covered the gospel already. So
kinda. I was about 3/4 of the way through, and then jumped you in and got distracted. But again, it is the most important thing that's going to come out of either one of our traps on this show.
Yes, that and also obligatorily. This program is only for those who are looking for a biblical New Testament church to join, to be a part of, to help with discernment. It's not for malcontents or for people who just want to learn, why Christians stink, or to learn about the latest Christian scandal. If all this is pure entertainment to you, if it's only of entertainment value and not edifying value, to learn how to practice your discernment with constant practice, so that you might be skilled in the word of righteousness, then stop listening. We don't care to have you listen to our podcast. We don't want to train the enemy, so to speak. So just tell Christians about this podcast. Give it to them at church. Pass it on down the pew. As a matter of fact, what I would do is break into your church this Sunday, maybe like 10 minutes before most people get there, and then just start sliding links to Polemics Report inside the hymnals. That would be good. Share it with your fellow Christian members, because that's the reason why David and I are doing this. We care about the sheep. We love the sheep, and we don't want to see sheep hurt by wolves. We don't want to see barbarians attack us once they've scaled the city, so to speak. So we want to give some warning, and we also want to be able to give some advice biblically about how to navigate these cultured waters in which we are in a post-Christian world, and not only a post-Christian world, that type, the type that is dreamed of by John Lennon and Russell Moore, but we are in an anti-Christian world. And how do we survive that? How do our churches survive that? What does it mean to be a pastor in an age of imprisonment for Christianity? That's where we're at. That's why you should listen to this program. And so those are the type of listeners that we want. That being said, in today's program, I just snuck in over the hill, over the snow hill, the mountain of snow. David, what are we going to talk about, man?
So I wanted to quiz you a little bit in front of everybody, really put you on the spot about about your article, your last article on Protested, because you've gotten a lot of appreciative feedback, and not feedback because you're quitting Polemics. That's although there's been a little bit of that, maybe like, well, it's about time, but there's also been a lot of appreciation for the work that you've done over the last What is it going on 8-9 years at least, something like that? I mean, when was the first year of Pulpit and Pen?
Well, I shut down that Baptist newspaper in 2010 when I wrote the article about Beth Moore, and it's had so many people drop their subscriptions that the newspaper went out of business, the Intermountain Christian News. That was 2010, I think, but I've been on it since 2008. So, you know, it's been a good decade and a half. It's been a long time. I really haven't seen, I'm interested to see the feedback. I don't know. It's not my last article, because there is one that is coming about, well, we can talk about that later in the program, but there is one that's coming that is, what do we call it? A doomsday device with a kill switch.
Yeah, maybe a little.
Next week.
I mean, basically,
basically, this article that David's talking about, I said, you know, so far as anything besides this podcast, being the polemicist, where I spend my time and energy building down, tearing down the altars of Asherah and Baal, and the idols to Molech. Not that I'm going to stop fighting abortion, but they're done. I have warned people enough, and it's like I saw a few people on Twitter say, "Oh, he's got evidence on the leaker and who's attacking Tom Buck. He's got evidence on that. Prove it." David, honestly, I don't think I have anything to prove after 10 years, after 12 years. Do I bluff? When I was reading the letter from Albert Mohler saying he would fire professors who signed the Dallas Statement, and people accused me of bluffing, was I bluffing? When I said that I had the NDA from Joe Aguilar with his gay assistant, was I bluffing? I don't bluff. Thank you very much. That one's aggravating. Like, prove it. Prove Bumgardner's gay.
Yeah, I got some of that feel too. Like, did you watch the last podcast?
Yeah, like we did. We proved it in the last podcast.
Well, and keep this in mind.
And we have not only former students, we have former faculty that's coming on the program that's going to testify to Bumgardner being gay.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to say it this way, but it's like, you know, you can tell anyway. I mean, there are signs.
No, your gaydar is going off.
Yeah,
a million miles a minute.
I've spent too many years in the arts to not have a pretty well-defined gaydar.
Now, I know Bumgardner will respond to anything. He's one of those on Twitter who live for the notoriety. He will respond to anything, but he will not respond to our accusations that he's gay, which would be a huge accusation. Well, it is a huge accusation.
And to be fair, like,
why isn't he responding to us that he's gay?
Because he's gay. I mean, what is there to respond to? But
for the same reason Merritt didn't. And
the thing you have to keep in mind is like David Bumgardner, he's a kid. You know, he's like half our age. He's a kid. You know, he's not ready for this. He's not ready for this kind of attention. They threw him to the wolves. That's my opinion is like, hey, dude, you're intelligent enough that you can write this, so you write it, and then when you get run over, then it won't be our problem.
They did, as a matter of fact, they picked. Let me move my mic closer. They picked like the least defensible person in the world to write this article to attack Tom Buck. They picked somebody that they knew could get run over by a bus, and Karen Swallow Pryor style, and people would be like, I
gotta tell you something about that. So I seriously did not know until just a couple weeks ago that she actually got hit by a bus. I thought you were just joking around.
How did you miss that?
I don't know.
No, I've lifted up many prayers for that bus. I pray for the bus regularly.
I seriously thought that was some sort of just kind of like a mean joke about appearance or something. Like you got hit by a bus, obviously. I didn't know it actually happened.
That was the answer. Like when Tommy Littleton got kicked out the year before you did, he asked Russell Moore about Beth Moore promoting Revoice, and they're like, she just got hit by a bus. I shouldn't have to answer this question.
It's not. It's really like, I really don't want anybody hit by a bus. It's not that funny, but it's funny that, like, I just thought it was some sort of an exaggeration.
A euphemism for like falling out of the ugly tree.
Yeah, exactly. You got hit with the ugly stick or something. That's what I thought it was. I'm sorry.
No. The poor bus ran into the woman.
Yeah, it's
very sad.
Yeah. So, well, here's the point with the Tom Buck thing. Tom Buck tweeted out yesterday, the day before, that he would be revealing the source of the leak that leaked Jennifer's rough draft and all of this, but not until after Holy Week. So we're all waiting till. What's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he admitted that then? Okay, that's good. I'm glad that he's planning on going to, because I'm planning on going to. I'm going to.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
This truth will come out either way, but we're basically just out of respect giving Tom the time to decide how he wants to present it before we get impatient.
The gist is, I wrote an article about this, and just to be perfectly candid, we've got nothing to hide. David wrote an article about this from two different angles. We are loaded for bear with both barrels, and we will release it. But I guess, David, from what you just said, what we're doing is we're giving Tom time to do it first, right? It's his show. I mean, not the Polemics Report, but I mean, he's the one that was attacked. We'll let Tom do it first, and then we've got both barrels blazing. And if Tom doesn't do it because he's too nice of a guy, I'm not. We're gonna release ours anyway. I don't know. I might call Tom Buck and be like, "Your deadline is Monday at noon," and then just do it. I don't know, but it's coming out. Yeah, either way. So my last blog to the SBC was see ya, losers. I'm done with day-to-day polemics on the website. But my second to last was this article, whistleblowing on the so-called whistleblower and the things that Bum Robber was talking about at Baptist News Baptist News Global.
Well, and the thing is, I don't remember if we got to this on the last podcast, but you know that it's the publisher or the head guy or whatever, the editor maybe or whatever at Baptist News Global is a big tranny supporter. Like that's his deal. Like his church left the SBC because the SBC was too conservative and they wouldn't let him, it wasn't okay to ordain gay deacons. So he left so they could ordain gay deacons.
I did regret during our last episode that we didn't point out that it says Bart Barber is a strong conservative by anybody's standards. Now, I alluded to it, but not that it was in Bum Robber's article. And I just thought, oh, how typical. They take some straight up liberal guy. So I did some videos on Twitter about that, which turns out is a thing. I'm learning new things already. See, with my new life, I'm learning things. You can make videos on Twitter. So I did some videos and I'm like, aren't they all strong conservatives? No, Barber is not a strong conservative by anyone's standards. I don't know anyone who seriously thinks that.
He's not a strong liberal. Retarded. He's not a strong anything. He just like waves with whatever the institutional winds do. That's what he does.
He's a doctrinal eunuch.
Yeah,
he's a doctrinal eunuch. Yeah.
Yeah, and so here's what just so you can catch up here. This is what Tom said. He said on April 1st, I received a phone call. He's got. I don't know why it took him 6 tweets to say this, but basically he said, I won't be saying anything more this week. My focus will return to the glorious news that Jesus died in our place, substitutionary sacrifice, defeated death when he rose again. Easter week should not be focused on vindicating me, but exalting Christ. Although I can make that argument for every day and every Sunday that it should be focused on exalting Christ and not vindicating Tom. And yet we would like to vindicate Tom anyway. So I guess he's waiting.
It's not because we love Tom. It's just because we love vindication and truth. So I have Easter services too, and so do you. I'm sure that you probably have as much to plan for Easter service as I do. I have a sermon. You probably have a music worship. I don't know. Do you have sugar, like dancing sugar plums or anything?
We might as well sometimes. No, it's like we have, it's, and I was joking
like
with
Easter, you have an Easter cantata.
I was joking. No, it's not that bad. No, but I was joking with the pastors. I said, it'd be good to get like through one service without finding a heretic amongst the worship music that we're doing. It's tough. Musicians just aren't that discerning about it.
Heretical cantatas, and I've got stuff to do. So we can all wait. It's okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I would say now conservatively, the articles, as the one that you wrote and the one that I wrote, with the evidence therein, let's just talk about the evidence about who the leaker is and who this ties together, and not who's implicated, but who's provenly to be a part of this, which is basically to tell Tom Buck. Would you call it extortion's not too hard a word, right? Like blackmail is not too strong a word.
No. Anytime you're trying to do something to get a vocal, known voice in the conversation or pastor in the conversation to zip their lip, that's definitely, I would consider that blackmail for sure.
So if we said, Bumgardner, if you don't quit with your liberalism, we're going to come out and say that you're gay, that'd be blackmail, right? So, but on a mass scale where you have grenades, rocket launchers, and then let's go up a notch to surface to air missiles, I don't know. And then you've got like daisy cutters, and then the mother of all bombs. Then you've got atomic bombs. I would say this is close to atomic, what we're about to release. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it's some sort of a ICBM level thing. I think,
at least for the people involved, it's atomic. And for those who are orbiting those that we're going to expose, it's at least the mother of all bombs.
Well, and it's just like with the Roy's articles and with a lot of the work that we wind up doing, this is to provide the intellectual ammunition for those that believe in the truth, those who are orthodox in their faith, to defend against these attacks. It's like, here's the information you need. Here's what, we do the research, we, walk around in mud for a while so that you have what you need.
I hear people say, now, why would you talk about Tom Buck or endorse Tom Buck? Somebody sent me a Tom Buck 22 hat. Don't you know he beats his wife? And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't read anything seriously that's written by somebody like Bumgardner. Notice I'm trying to watch my tongue. Someone like Bumgardner. But secondly, that's not true, and also you're stupid.
Yeah.
Which I think was my actual tweet. So you don't know. And so what we're doing is we're going to give people the information that they do need to know, and we're going to make sure that they know that information.
Yep. And the goal, would you say the goal of this is to get rid of a lot of the confusion, so that at the end of the discussions about these things, we're down to doctrine. We're down to saying, this is why we disagree with these people, because it's doctrinal. They're a bunch of false teachers.
That is the answer I would like to give. I would also say part of my motivation is to get rid of Karen Swallow and some others. But no, what you've said probably is the most mature spiritual answer.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult to do because all this work is done by men and some women, but mostly men in flesh.
No, there's Marshall West.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're women that can do this very well.
Elizabeth Prada has become very good at cut and paste. So there's that.
I'm good with it.
There's a couple. Women. There's a couple women in discernment.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
She's not so good at citing her sources, but she is good at kind of keeping her nose to the grindstone there when it comes to the art of polemics.
So this is a related topic, and I've been asked about it a few times in the, not only the comments on this video, but even before. So were you aware David Ute at First Baptist Orlando went after Justin Peters after Justin exposed him for
Yes.
and yeah. And so,
Yes.
I mean, what's been going on for those of you watching right now that may not be aware of this is First Baptist Orlando, and it's weird because the church
Which
itself.
he did, by the way, in an interview on this program.
What?
FYI, I just thought we would take some credit for that. I interviewed Justin on this program regarding First Baptist Church Orlando, but then Justin did some lengthier pieces. But it started here on an interview with Justin.
When was that?
Right when it was going down.
No, I'm talking about like recently. Like you know, he attacked David Youth attacked Justin Peters last week.
Oh, recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on a second. I got a text from Justin on this. Hold on a second. You go ahead and keep talking. Let me look up my text.
Well,
I ignore most of my texts.
Well, and I'm gonna play the. I have the video pulled up here that was conveniently cut and put on YouTube by Reformation.
No, it must have not been Justin. It was someone else texted me something related to this week.
Well, it could have been Jeff. Could have been Jeff Maples because he's been working on this story, and he's got a cut.
But Justin went after First Baptist Orlando years ago after the gay thing.
Well, yeah, he went after him after the nightclub shooting, and how they had insane false teachers from the pulpit.
Yeah, the homosexuals.
Right, and that's part of it. He brings that back up again, but it was about a month ago or something. One of the associate pastors, and then David Youth follows this up. Basically, we're bragging on how they let homosexuals and transgenders and cohabitating people, and apparently every version of sexual immorality serve in their church.
We have them serve at every level of
right. Yep.
Right.
They're
So
growing,
Justin
giving,
went after
serving
them
members of the church. Right.
Justin must have. Yeah, I didn't see Justin's retort to that.
Well, yeah. So Justin does a video on this, and then David Youth decides he's gonna respond. I'm gonna put this up so everybody can see it. This is from Reformation Charlotte's YouTube channel, which, like I said, I appreciate the fact that Jeff cut this up so that we could use it right now. Maybe. There he goes.
For Dr. David Youth to get up and say in front of his entire church, all of his congregants, that any healthy church must have two kinds of people in it: heretics and sexually immoral people. What? That, by him saying that, he shows that he has absolutely no understanding of what a church is. But we are not to associate, we are not to have worldly, unregenerate people as members of our church, serving and growing. By definition, an unregenerate person cannot grow. What's he going to grow in? His unregenerateness, his lost condition. Is he going to grow in that? The Apostle Paul cannot be more clear, dear ones. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 11. Paul says, "But now I am writing to you not to associate with any so-called brother if he is sexually immoral person, or greedy, or an idolater, or a reviler, or a drunkard, or a swindler, not even to eat with such a one." Not even to eat with such a one. Not to have them as members of your church where they can grow and serve and give. If you're going to a church that looks like the world, then you're not going to a church. You're going to a goat farm. So get out of there. Get out from among them. Dr. David Youth is showing his disdain for the church. He's showing his disdain for Scripture. These men are not pastors. These are hirelings. And if by some chance you're watching this video and you're a member of First Baptist Church, Orlando, Florida, get out. My word to you, my encouragement to you, is to get out.
And so then here's a Youth's response.
Which, of course, amen and amen to everything Justin said. Obviously.
Yep,
obviously.
So I have a number in my phone right now. I have a name and a number, contact info. It is the contact for a guy who released a very, very ungodly video about our church. And he did it in the name of Jesus. And he basically said, y'all need to leave if you're a member of this church. And he told lie after lie about us. Not the first time that's happened. Happens a lot.
Oh, my word.
But some reason I just thought, I'm going to call him. I'm going to take care of this. So I've got it in my phone. So I'm driving. I had a meeting in Jacksonville, and I went to this meeting, and it was pastors that were together, and I found out that we're not the only ones that have been attacked.
He's attacked others?
Social media can be an abyss of evil and poison. And the sad thing about it is we got people believing it.
I was going to beg for
we have Christians
Mute's
who will
number.
believe what they read or heard or saw on social media more than they will believe sitting in a room listening to somebody. And that is a sad day for the kingdom, folks.
That's so dumb. I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt. That is so dumb.
Please interject.
He's like, yeah. So he sits there and says, "We live in an age where people believe more what they hear on social media than what they hear in person. That's a sad day." As if somehow you can't be lied to person, you know.
It's a video of what happened in person.
Yeah. It's like, you got to believe me because it's in person, and the guy on the computer screen on your phone must be lying.
Lie by citing my words, word for word on video.
Yeah,
it's just lie after lie.
Yeah, this is
see here. Where does that come from? So if you're postmodern, truth is whatever you want it to be. Therefore, a lie is whatever you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't like that. So therefore, he gives it the designation lie, because to him, as a postmodernist, truth is whatever that you like. Therefore, what Justin Peters said that he doesn't like is a lie, which is actually, interestingly enough, the only lie in this video from Reformation Charlotte comes from David Ute, because Justin didn't tell any lies. He just said what happened, just like back at the Orlando nightclub shooting, and they laid hands on homosexuals and said that homosexuals were the chief cornerstone of the church.
Yep.
That was not a lie either.
Well, and the thing
what this means is, I think it has effect. Justin's video must have touched some chords.
Yeah.
Right. Or else he wouldn't be addressing it, because the MO of the intelligentsia, and you certainly a part, he was supposed to be the Pastors Conference president last year. David Ute's, that's right. No, the year before last, the COVID, when they canceled for COVID, Ute was supposed to be in charge of that. So there have to be people who watch Justin's video and go, yeah, you're right. You're right. But instead, this is a shoot the messenger sort of situation, which
it was ungodly. He actually said stuff that I said, and it was ungodly.
Justin doesn't have skin that's even as thick as I am. So, it's thick. It's plenty thick, but it's not as thick as mine or yours. Justin is a very sensitive soul. I mean that in as masculine way as possible. But he doesn't like when people would say such mean things about him. But he's all Justin did was tell people what the Bible says. More so than Ute. How many scriptures did Ute appeal to? I didn't know he was going to go to 1 Corinthians 5 when I said that, because I hadn't seen the video. But how many scriptures did Ute appeal to when he said any healthy church has got homosexuals leading it?
Yeah, none.
Yes, I condensed it, but that's in the quote.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing, this is just, he basically just holds up what he says. Justin did this, holds up what is said at this church, holds up scripture, and says, there it is. And that's why David Ute is so upset about this. That's why it's having the effect that it's having.
Yep.
And what makes this more complicated for me is, First Baptist Orlando has been the location of Legionnaire for how many years now? Like where do we draw that line between, are they just using the building? Is there a cooperation going on here? What
you think about the term wolf in sheep's clothing. There's Ute. He is dressed like a preacher. He has preacher hair. He has the preacher voice. He has the mannerisms. He's speaking to his congregation like an elderly statesman. He's playing the part. He's got everything but the tie on, but it's Florida, so he is the picture of what you expect a professional pastor to be. And the man that you're looking at right there is a ravenous, wicked, sodomite approving, probably, if I had to guess at his age, reprobate, and certainly lost. He is an actual wolf, but he sure looks the part, man.
Mm-hmm.
Compare him on Sunday morning to me. I mean, he looks the part. Compare him to, say, some normal hillbilly preacher like Harold Smith. I mean, this guy looks the part.
Yeah.
And yet that's wicked. Like what he just said about Justin ought to have a whole new video made about it. I guess we're doing that now.
Yeah.
His ought to have a new video made about it, going, what is the lie that Justin told? He said what you said. He didn't take it out of context. That's what you said. There's no lie that's told. You were not viciously attacked. And yes, people were told to leave your church. What's your point, crybaby? People ought to leave your church. And if you weren't sensitive about it, if you didn't know there was some truth to it, you'd have left it alone. But it hurts. And people are leaving, aren't they? I guarantee you they're leaving. And he's going to shame the listener by saying, you're listening to somebody on the internet when you could be believing my words for it. They heard it with their ears. They were there. They might have needed Justin to sit on the side and with his Bible and go, now you heard what your pastor said, but let's put a little bit more thought into it. Here's what the Bible says, and let's compare it to what your pastor says. That's the heart of polemics, by the way. Here's what your pastor said, but here's what the Bible actually said. And then that's effective. And then he talk about, I've talked to other pastors about this. I'm not the only one. There are others being attacked. Yeah, like I bet, like at SBC Naples, maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm sure. I'm sorry if not all of the entire visible church doesn't kneel down and worship at your golden image, pastor. It's just not the way that it works. See, here's the thing. At most churches, pastors are treated pretty crappily. To the church's shame, they get a $100 check for pastor appreciation gift in October, and the rest of the month they're treated like crap. They're not cared about. You got to be somewhere. I mean, you have to do what I've done, where you're somewhere for 15 years before people will actually call you pastor, before they use your first name and they treat you with respect, and it's well earned. And that's the unfortunate part, is that you're just not treated with much respect as a pastor anymore. People won't. I mean, I never took the name reverend. I've always refused the term reverend, but they treated you reverently, which was, at least down south, which was nice in the Bible Belt. But guys like you, they're treated like demigods. They're treated like seminary presidents, like at Albert Mohler. Or Southern Baptist Theological Seminary.
Well, and this was like the answer.
Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Yeah, but the ministerial methodology that youth and his ilk employ was a response to the dwindling societal respect for pastors. It was basically, saying, hey, the morality of the society has slipped to a point where pastors aren't taken seriously in the community anymore. So let's professionalize it. Let's turn them into CEOs.
Let me point out what bothers Justin more than calling Justin a liar. Browbeating the sheep who are listening to the Bible. That bothers Justin. I guarantee you. That bothers Justin. The browbeating of the sheep who would listen to the Bible bothers Justin more than being called a liar. Which is part of the reason why people listen to Polemics Report or anything that we've ever done, is because I saw one woman said, I didn't spend much time today, looking at what people had to say, but one woman said, I felt back when I was like 10 years ago, I felt like I found a family. It's because we don't treat people like outcasts because they look at what the Bible says, they compare it to what the pastor's saying and go, this doesn't pass muster.
Yeah.
But that's why the Bereans were commended. That's why we as Christians are commended. This should be one of our primary goals.
Well, and I always say that I treat the word and God with reverence, and everything else kind of is in a second tier at best. It's like, and especially myself, like reverence is reserved for very few things. Everything else is human and, has its issues, and we got to be humble about it. And while that includes pastors for sure, it's still, there's a reverence for the office, and there's the Bible specifically talks about submission in a way that, frankly, for someone like me is not easy all the time. I mean, I'll be straight with you. I think we're pretty close, and you've been a pastor for a long time. I have not been a pastor. That's difficult for a guy like me sometimes to be humble and submit anyway, even though there's sometimes I guarantee I know better about whatever that issue is. It doesn't mean as a lay person that you take that you stand on that and you take your shots. There's still respect and submission that you owe. Yeah.
Charge over your soul of your soul, they must give an account. Submit to them. I mean, the scripture is clear, but at the same time, that only goes so far as what they're telling you is biblical. There's no admonition to submit to an elder who's lying to you or who's telling you something that's unbiblical. Quite the opposite. But we don't have popes. That's one of the things that makes us Baptists. David Ute needs to understand. But here's the thing. He's an old guy in a big, beautiful building with lots of old people in it, mostly. And it's going to, as the biggest building around, I'm sure within a mile or two, it's going to attract a lot of lost people to it. And they're going to show up because there's a big building and they want to go to church on Sunday. And they've got children's programs. So they're going to show up. So he's part of the guild, man. He's in the upper echelons of the SBC. It was amazing to me that after Orlando, the laying on of hands of homosexuals, calling them the chief cornerstone, even after that, he was made the president of the pastors' conference. Yeah. That's the state of affairs in the SBC 2 years ago.
Well, they won't disfellowship Saddleback for ordaining women pastors. Why would they kick youth out for saying that I got trannies, serving communion or doing whatever they're doing?
Know, but I think that you and I could get kicked out pretty easy.
Yeah, it would be hard. It would be hard to be there for a single day with what they do. I mean, there's nothing like a lost pastor to employ the techniques to attract lost people.
We'll find out in Anaheim. I will see you, patrons in Anaheim. I'm still going.
I was going to ask you about. So, what's the status of all that? What's the status of the the plans?
Okay, so carpool, caravan, etc. I think that Tom Askell is in a contest with who can be how nice with Bart Barber, and I think I'm with Jesse Cunningham, Pastor Jesse. Who said the other day, it's Tom Buck or else. I hope that Tom Askell wins. I support Tom Askell. I endorse Tom Askell, although that just lost him about 100 votes. I endorse Tom Askell. I will cast one of my 2 votes for Tom Askell. But I'm going to help facilitate some church buildings and housing, like at a camp in Anaheim for pastors who don't want to pay for a hotel. And then I'm going to give some money to some pastors who need it to get there. And then I'm done. The primary reason I'm going is as a funeral. I put so much work into this. I want to see the death of the Southern Baptist Convention.
And how confident that that's going to happen in this meeting? I mean,
100%. If Tom Askell wins, it's still the death of the Southern Baptist Convention, because Tom Askell doesn't have what it takes to pull the trigger. He doesn't have what it takes to make the replacements on the committees, to be the bad guy, to be the tough guy. Tom Askell's a good man. Tom Askell's a man of God. Tom Askell means well, but will he pull the trigger when the time comes for it to stop playing games, to stop playing politics, and to bring the reform that is needed? I don't think he does. I think he is the same guy that called Albert Mueller a good guy only a few months ago.
Was it that? Yeah.
It's actually,
I mean,
it's been a year ago. It's been a year ago now.
Yeah. Whoever comes into the office needs to have the guts to fire Albert Mueller as soon as they walk through the door. As much as that can be done.
Well, yeah, they're limited in what they can do, but I think Askell's too nice for the job.
Yeah, they need
I don't think it's gonna help the. I don't think it's gonna be a new resurgence.
Yeah. Well, I'm
with the guy that says Buck or nobody.
Yeah, they need
it's not gonna be Buck.
They need an SBC version of Trump without the personal immorality.
That's
exactly a disruption. Right. They need a disruption.
Right. And Askell is not that. Askell is still a politician. He's still a diplomat. We don't need a diplomat. We need a dangerous man. Tom Askell is not a dangerous man. Tom Askell is a nice man. Tom Askell is a good man. Tom Askell is not the dangerous man that we need right now at the helm of the SBC. But that's who they put forward. That's who they decided, the Conservative Baptist Network, that's who they put forward. That's who I'll support. But I'm not going to be helping out with any other kind of caravan. I know I've talked to pastors a bunch who are engaged and happy about that. But like, I know of a church, 4 or 5 churches that are sending 12 messengers to Anaheim to vote for Tom Askell and then resign. That's crazy. And you think I'm nuts? They're driving. Well, I guess I'm already resigned. I just kind of snuck through because they never sent me any paperwork telling me that they would accept my resignation from the SBC. But they're going all the way from, I won't say what state, to vote. It's a long ways to vote against Bart Barber, just so they can then publicly turn in their resignation from the SBC.
Yeah, is there going to be like a special spot that we set up in the hallway for people to,
for expatriates?
Yeah, to make it obvious. Hey, here's all the people that are not going to be here next time.
I don't know. Maybe we should order some black shirts, which is the white shirt. Done.
Well, what we should have done if we were thinking far enough in advance would be to get a booth at the convention. Like
that would be the most visited, talked about booth.
Yeah, it'd be like a giant exit sign at the top of the booth.
We would stand no chance of not getting kicked out by security. Because remember, that's what Russell Moore kicked Tommy Littleton out, called the police on a credentialed reporter because he asked about Karen Swallow Pryor's endorsement of Revoice. I kid you not.
Well, and if you read
I've got a picture of myself at the security booth from SBC 2016, maybe. I don't know, in case I showed up so that they would be on the lookout for me, which I guess they'll still be on the lookout for me, but I'm going. So they're a cabal. They're like the mafia.
Yeah. Well, and it's and my hope is that when Tom, when he addresses all this, basically the smoking gun evidence he has, that'll be part of the address is, hey, there is a cabal, there is a big evangelical intelligentsia that a lot of pew sitters don't know about, or they don't take it seriously, and it has disturbed me to watch Bart Barber and Tom Askell have a nice off on Twitter, like, who can be the most gentle, and lowly, and like, yep. I'm like, maybe I'm overstepping a little bit here rhetorically,
our mouths are watering for war.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like, you guys need to
on our face already.
Like, yeah, like you guys need to get a room. Like, that's what I thought.
We're ready to go, and Askell's just being too nice. He's being the same Askell that I was afraid that he was. And the people that told me, oh no, he's different. He understands Mueller's dangerous. He understands this. I'm sorry, guys. I
So
don't think you're right.
Violet's asking, what about the 1,000 messengers? Good question. Because remember we talked about 1,000 messengers.
That was for Tom Buck.
Yeah, initially, but didn't you also say that 1,000 messengers we could get for Tom Askell as well?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think there might have been some confusion, but I thought you said that. So
Maybe I did. I
Well-
don't know. I'm not willing to fight for Tom Askell like I am Tom Buck. I'm not. Nope. Sorry.
although the funny thing is, I think Tom Buck might be willing to fight for Tom Askell.
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if after it comes out what the intelligentsia have been trying to do to Tom. We'll see if Tom even shows up in Anaheim. I'm interested to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Tom Buck is even going to be in Anaheim.
Yeah, Violet says you said it on Twitter
I would not be
I gotta find
surprised
that.
if Tom Buck's church was not in the SBC 2 days from now or after Easter. I mean, surely First Baptist Church Lindale has got to reach the point where they say, we've had enough. You're going to blackmail our pastor? First thing we're going to do is we're all going to hop in our pickup trucks. We're going to come kick your ASS. Secondly, goodbye. See you later. Because that man has been sorely mistreated. And you know what? I've been mistreated by Tom Buck. I'm just telling you what the truth is. This isn't even political for me. Tom Askell has probably hurt my ministry more than anyone and tried to hurt my ministry more than anyone. I don't care. He's right. They're wrong. They tried to blackmail and bribe him. That's why it's been nice to be the guy with nothing to lose. I'll tell you that. Because they know better than try that crap with me. What are you going to do? You're going to take away, I don't even have an association.
Yep.
You're going to ruin my reputation? You did that already back in 2014. And by the way, the person that they have hurt the worst, I'm sure, I'm just guessing, but I think it's a good guess. The person that bum robber has hurt the most, and the survivor, the rags, the ones that they have hurt the worst has got to be Jennifer Buck, a woman, the abuse victim, who has contradicted their story, who has said, this is not true the way that they're telling it. This is not the point of the reason why I told the story. You should retract the story. And they will not listen. And Bum Robber says that it was because of his conversation with the survivor blog women that it's going to stay up, despite the fact that, I mean, half of it's factually inaccurate to begin with. And then you have the wrong assumptions made on top of that. So both the facts and the commentary are totally wrong in Bum Robber's argument or article at Baptist News Global. The survivor blog women, let me say this to you, B. Let me say this to you, Julianne. I don't think you care about sex abuse victims unless they fit your preconceived political ideology. I don't think you care about sex abuse victims.
You know what they care about? The pulpit. That's what they care about. I just put it out there. That's the goal underneath all of this. Is pulpit ministerial egalitarianism. That's the point.
I don't think they care.
Yeah.
And maybe Bum Robber was talking about Jen Den Hollander, but I doubt it, because I don't think Jen Den Hollander is going to be very complicit in what I've learned. This isn't Jen Den Hollander. Or Rachel Den Hollander. I wish it was, but she should come out pretty squeaky clean, I think. But there are going to be some others that go down hard. You just got to wait till next week for it to come out. That's already written by me, so I already put out my last post. It just has a kill switch a dead man switch that somebody's going to flip when Tom flips his. If Tom flips his. And if Tom doesn't flip his.
So, all right.
I'm taking some people down as my last gift to the world of polemics.
So speaking of the end of your polemical career, which, like you said, is not doesn't mean you're out of the game, so to speak. But
basically doing a podcast.
Yeah, but it basically, you're gonna let the other people do the mud, tromping through the mud a little bit more, which is fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because you told me this a while ago that like most people they can't do this for that long. It's just nasty, I mean, I've only been helping you out for a little while now, like a little over a year, and there are days I get up and it's like this is nasty. This is just depressing. This is hard. It's hard to work through. It's hard to do the work because it's so negative. So and yet it needs to be done.
And then you have people hate you. I saw somebody. Who did a video about me? I think it was AD Robles, who I don't think I've ever spoken to in my life, except some direct messages. I don't think. Maybe I have. But
I thought you were on with him at some point. Really?
AD?
Yeah, I thought so. Or no, it was because because his book was the book of the.
You're thinking of John Harris.
No, but AD's book was one of the monthly books for patrons, at a certain level.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I sent him messages warning him in the beginning that this would crucify his reputation. This is going to kill his reputation.
Right.
That was before he got fired from his basically fired. So I mean, I warned him, and I've sent him notes several times saying you're not a real theonomist.
I think that's true. I agree. I've watched enough of his content. I think that's probably true.
You're not a real theonomist. But somebody said, or it might have been under Phil Johnson's tweet, I don't know, but somebody said he's a reprobate. And that's like I alt said without any explanation. I'm like, I'm a reprobate, I guess.
Well, and AD,
this is part of the reason I'm not doing this anymore. I don't know you. Shut up. Just shut up. I don't even know you. You don't know me. I'm a reprobate.
Well, and
for what? For what?
Yeah. See, Watchdog says that you were that you were giving away AD's book. It was a while, like months ago. I mean, after he first put it out. But he actually put a video up on YouTube to talk about your article as well. So you should check that out when you get the time. AD did. That's
no, that's what I'm talking about. I think I saw something on AD, or it might have been Phil's, where it said he's a reprobate, something like that.
Oh,
and it's just like you get people calling you, sons of the devil because you're warning people about actual sons of the actual devil. So you get called the son of the devil.
Right.
It's just so immature and stupid, which is fine. And there are people that want to spend their time doing immature and stupid things. That's cool. I have time to do immature and stupid things like this podcast, but
it's immature. It's not stupid. It's immature.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not stupid. I kid, but I don't have the 4 hours Seiko time for YouTube or for writing or blogging. I mean, I'm serious. I have things to do. There are people that I need to see tomorrow to hurry up and get baptized because they don't have to hurry to get baptized, but there are souls to rescue and souls to save. It's brothers we were perishing, like that song, that hymn says. I have some real heavy churchy opportunities, as Nacho Libre would say, that this is how I need to spend my time doing it. Now, I tagged you in a tweet today because I wanted to talk about it on the program, or it might have been last night. Do you remember what I tagged you in?
I'm going to find it now.
And you responded and put a smiley face. So I'm like, I want to talk about that on the program.
Well, I saw one with the top 10 Frenchie and groomer songs. That was pretty funny.
There were a lot of people that commented on that. I mean, that had opinions on the Adios Polemics article that I did. It's good to be missed, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you saw the
Whatever. See you. I don't know you people.
You saw Phil's tweet, right?
Yeah, which is kind of an insult / a compliment, but I texted him that. I'm like, I'm not sure which way.
I found it. I found it pretty funny. It's like
I don't think there was a better polemicist, but I do think I make a better preacher.
Yeah, but didn't you tell me the other day that you were the best writer ever too? So I don't know. I lose track of how many things you're the best at.
Polemics writing.
I don't know.
I think if we're talking wrecking ball method. Yeah.
Yeah, you do have a flowery way of
I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's clever. Well, and I mean, I remember at the beginning, some people don't know this story, but you probably remember when you first convinced me to start, writing on Protestia and doing other work. It was like I thought the Wrecking Ball, like you were encouraging people to like start their own thing. So I basically had like a website. I was starting to put stuff up on and you're like, what is this? You look like this looks like a ripoff, and it kind of was.
Yeah, but you succeeded with it. I taught you how to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you didn't teach me how to write.
Somebody said they're going to be debating JD's strategy for years to come about whether or not it was successful, whether or not it worked, whether it was the right way to do it. I think that's true. I think my strategy will be debated for years.
Yeah.
Was it successful? Did it help? I don't know.
So you think you tagged this on me on Twitter or on Facebook?
I tagged you on Twitter. You responded back. Let me look too.
I gotta find this, but yeah, but while you're looking that up, I actually haven't, with a lot of my Protestia work, it hasn't been Wrecking Ball method. I mean, to be honest, it's been a lot of too long to read kind of stuff. And that's that's okay. There can be some of that as well. There needs to be some of that. And if I'm gonna expect people to listen to me on other things, it's like, okay, I gotta make sure. And my biggest fear with all that, I mean, I'll admit it right here on the stream. My biggest fear with all of that is that somebody will run across something that I wrote a year ago, 2 years ago, or something like that, and it'll be full of holes, and something that's not intellectually defensible. So I always get a little concerned about that. So I wind up spending probably more time than I should on whatever I'm doing, and is what it is. I
don't know, man. I can't find it.
I know.
You liked it, like you saw the comment.
Yeah, that's
it was something stupid in evangelicalism, like we would talk about.
The usual stuff. Yeah, we're just gonna sit here silently until someone in the comments is like, "This is what it was," but okay.
Yeah.
Or
go on to the next topic. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, that's. I mean, we've been going for hour 10 now, so that usually does it for the free.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. It's the time flies when we have a live stream. It just knowing that you all are here listening is really cool. I'm kind of glad that we're doing this. And it saves me on production time, because whatever goes out goes out. I don't have to worry about I gotta cut this in, cut that out. So, but okay. So just
thank you for listening.
Hang on one sec. Just to explain again before you outro everything. Just to explain again, right. For those of you who are patrons, the link in Patreon that has this has the Patreon, the patrons only live stream, and a link there. And after this one is done, I'll start that one as soon as I can. So anyway, okay, go ahead. Outro.
And so like the 4 people who called me today and said, "You got to run this as an article over at Protestia." I'm not. I'll try to have one of the other guys do it, but I got stuff to do, and it doesn't include that. But what it does include is this program, which I really like doing, by the way, even in the midst of a blizzard. David Morrill, thank you so much for joining us. God bless you all. Tell somebody about Jesus, if you would, because that's more important than talking about David, you being a complete
psychopath. God bless you. Talk to you later. Until then, as always, Semper Reformanda.